How is it that you can make your ex feel safe so that they can open up to you emotionally? That's what we're going to be talking about in this video. Hey there, it's Clay with modernlove.life. Now, in many of our previous videos, we've talked about creating a strong emotional connection and getting your ex to open up and all of that. But how do you actually do all of this? That's what this video is going to be about, because when you can actually do this, when you can create the strong emotional connection, and when you can help your ex to feel safe so that they can open up to you, that's when you can open up the possibility of a strong bond, a strong emotional connection, trust building, all sorts of positive things that you could be looking for here. So the first thing that you want to do is to make sure that you are detached from outcome. Easier said than done, I know, but we want to make sure that we're focusing on building a connection with our partner rather than trying to save the relationship or get back together. If your sole goal here is to get back together, save the relationship, stop the divorce or whatever, you're going to end up being relationship focused, which means you're going to overlook the important things, which is, hey, are we actually able to connect right here? How are you feeling right now? How am I feeling right now? What's going on right now between the two of us? Everything just becomes this sort of calculated move. Is this lining up with what I want? Is it not lining up with what I want? But if instead we can just say, hey, where's this connection at right now? How are you feeling right now? Now we can start to drop in and become more connection focused. And in order to do that, we have to really work on being detached from outcome. We're going to get into that in a little bit more here in just a moment here. But additionally, the second thing we want to do is to be able to drop the pressure between the two of us. So oftentimes, people will have an elevated level of romantic pressure between them and their ex-partner. This makes sense. The two of you were in a relationship with one another. You saw each other as romantic partners. You connected in a romantic sort of way. It makes sense. But it can also get in the way, too, if they're holding themselves back from opening up to you because they're worried, hey, what if I send the wrong message? What if you think that I'm interested in you and I'm not sure if I'm interested in you right now? Does that make me a bad person? Am I the kind of person that leads someone on? Am I a manipulator? All this sort of stuff. And so if we can drop that pressure, then you're going to actually be able to help them to feel safe so that they can actually be more connection focused rather than worrying about whether or not they're setting up some sort of relationship or something like that going on between the two of you. We want to really make sure that you're dropping the pressure and that you're also detached from outcome as much as possible. We're going to go into some ways that you can get into doing that in just a moment here. But before we do, if you like this video, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button for the video. And please make sure you subscribe to this channel as well, too. Making sure you also hit the bell icon when you subscribe as well. You would not believe how much this actually helps us with this channel, how it helps us to grow this channel and helps us to reach and impact more people. But with that being said, how can you actually start to be detached from outcome and drop the pressure that you might be putting on the situation? Let it be okay that they're showing up however they're showing up, okay? I know it's hard because you love this person and maybe you see a future with them and you want to know, hey, is this moving in the right direction or not? But if you can just bring your focus to the present moment, accept them as they are right now. Accepting it doesn't mean you have to give up. Accepting it doesn't mean you have to be okay with it. Accepting it doesn't mean you have to be complacent with it or a doormat or anything like that. But you have to get real about what's real. And if you can just sit with that, and if you can just be emotionally okay with wherever they're at right now, whether they're upset at you, whether they're not talking to you, whether they're whatever, and if you can just be emotionally okay with that, that actually creates an actual sort of energetically liberating thing where you actually can be less constrictive and myopic in what you're doing. I mean, there's all sorts of things that are going on there on an energetic level that we can get into in another video. But of course, as you're doing this, also enforce boundaries as needed. Like obviously, don't put up with any sort of abuse. If someone is stepping over boundaries, obviously lovingly enforce those, all that stuff. But, be willing to accept emotionally and be at peace with emotionally what's going on around you here. And then the next thing here is to also be vulnerable. be vulnerable with what you're experiencing, from a place of being connection focused. Like, obviously you don't want to be like, yeah, I love you and I will never stop fighting for you and I'm going to not stop trying to get back together with you forever and ever. Because that's relationship focused. That's damage control mode. That's not going to feel good. That's not plugging yourself into how their emotional experience is, etc. But if you can own your emotional experience and honestly communicate it to them where they're not responsible for your emotions and all that, then that's going to actually create more of an emotional bond, and it's going to encourage them to actually want to connect with you a lot more. It's going to encourage them to want to open up to you as well too. And the fifth thing you can do is to love your life the way that it is. Now, obviously, I want you to love your life the way that it is, whatever's going on. I want you to feel good about your career, your health, other things going on in your life, your friendships, things that you're doing, your hobbies, all that sort of stuff, and your relationships too. But if you can really love your life the way that it is and do whatever you need to do to tighten things up, go for that promotion, go for that new job, go for, buying the house that you've always wanted, if you can afford it or something, put in the offer, I don't know. Or, patch things up with your friend that you had a falling out with, or your parents or whatever. Go ahead and do that sort of stuff. It's going to show your partner that you're still out there doing things. You're still doing things that are important to you. And it's going to also free up and move some good energy within you. And that's also going to be a really positive thing. Like, the last thing you want to do is just to be really depressed and sullen and all that sort of stuff. Because number one, your partner might think, hey, look at you, you're like, I broke up with you and now you're really depressed. I did this to you. Now I feel guilty, so I'm going to pull away. But also, the better your life gets, the more you love your life, the more they're going to want to be a part of that, because they're going to see positivity in your life and they're going to want to have that around them. Our relationships, when we're offering someone to be in a relationship with us, they need to see how it's going to benefit them, right? If you're just, depressed, watching tons of Netflix, just playing video games all the time, not eating healthy, not taking care of yourself or whatever, it's not going to be a very inspiring thing for someone to say, yeah, that's the kind of person I want in my life. What we want to see is, hey, if we get into a relationship, I get to be a part of your world and you get to be a part of my world. I can take you to do the fun things that I do and to go to the social circles that I go in and all that sort of stuff. But I want to also feel that you have something going on as well too, okay? It's not to say you should just randomly fill your life with just distracting things. Dial into what's important to you in your life and live into those values and live into what's important to you, obviously, because that's very important, and it's going to take a lot of the pressure off of your ex and how they believe or fear or think that they could be affecting you, and it's going to cause them to relax a lot more around you to the point where they can actually open up and connect with you a lot more. If you do want to learn more about how to create a strong emotional bond with your ex, please check out this video playlist right up here on advanced relational skills. It'll probably be really helpful for you in terms of creating that strong emotional bond with your ex. It's basically the core of what we teach in most of our trainings. Anyway, check it out, and I'll see you over there. Take care.